Welcome to Cheat Sheet Tale, where secrets slip, lies unravel, and the truth always has a twist. Real stories, raw confessions, and shocking betrayals. Drop a comment if you've ever caught a red flag too late. Now, let's get into today's tale. My aunt stole my information to open a business loan, saying, "You weren't using that credit anyway." When I reported it, my family screamed, "You wouldn't ruin us over this, would you?" I just shrugged, and the moment they got a legal summon, their world fell apart. It all started a regular Tuesday morning. I was sipping my coffee when I received a call from a bank I didn't recognize. "Hello, is this Ethan Harris?" the caller asked. "Yes, who's this?" "This is Linda from First National Bank. We're calling to confirm the details of your 75,000 business loan application." Innerly dropped my mug. "I didn't apply for any loan," I replied, heart pounding after a brief pause. Linda continued, "The application was submitted using your social security number and personal information. The funds were dispersed last week." I was in shock. How could this happen? I immediately contacted the bank's fraud department and filed a police report. Over the next few days, I discovered that someone had used my identity to secure a substantial business loan. The trail led me to a business registered under the name Elite Events, operating out of San Antonio. Digging deeper, I found that their registered owner was none other than my Aunt Maya. She had always been the ambitious type, jumping from one business idea to another, none of which ever panned out. We hadn't spoken in years, but I never imagined she'd stoop to this level. I decided to confront her. I drove to San Antonio and found her at a local event. She was organizing Maya. I said, approaching her, "We need to talk." She looked surprised, but quickly masked it with a smile. "Well, if it isn't my favorite nephew, what brings you here?" I didn't mince words. "I know you used my identity to get a business loan. Why would you do that?" She laughed nervously. "Oh, come on, Ethan. You weren't using the credit anyway. I needed a little help to get my business off the ground." I was stunned. "That's identity theft, Maya. It's a federal crime." She waved her hand dismissively. "Family helps family. Don't be so dramatic." I returned home and informed my immediate family about what had happened. To my surprise, instead of support, I was met with hostility. "You're going to ruin Maya's life over this," my mother exclaimed. "She's family. She committed a crime." I replied, "She stole my identity and ruined my credit." My father chimed in, "Can't you just let it go? Think about the family reputation." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They were more concerned about appearances than the fact that I was a victim of fraud. Feeling betrayed, I decided to take legal action. I hired an attorney and filed a lawsuit against Maya for identity theft and fraud. We also reported her to the authorities. The legal process was grueling, but I was determined to see it through. Maya was served with a legal summon, and the reality of her actions began to sink in. The news of the lawsuit spread through our family like wildfire. Relatives called me pleading to drop the case. Some even accused me of tearing the family apart, but I stood firm. Maya made her choices. Now she has to face the consequences. Eventually, Maya was found guilty of identity theft and fraud. She was sentenced to prison and ordered to pay restitution. Her business collapsed, and her reputation was in shambles. Took years to repair my credit and rebuild my life. The ordeal strained my relationship with my family, but I found solace in knowing I stood up for myself. I moved to new city, started a new job, and surrounded myself with people who valued integrity. The experience taught me the importance of setting boundaries. Even with family, looking back, I realized that sometimes doing the right thing means standing alone. Maya's betrayal was a painful lesson, but it made me stronger and more resilient. Family should be a source of support, not a shield for wrongdoing. By holding Maya accountable, I reclaimed my life and set a precedent that such behavior would not be tolerated. Just when I thought the worst was over, I got another letter from a different bank, this time from Dallas. It was a notice of default on a $30 cellular equipment loan again. The name on the account was mine, but the address, that was my cousin Lucas's place. Yeah, Maya's son. My stomach dropped. I called their number on the letter and pretended to be clueless. They confirmed everything. Loan opened using my name, my SSN, and my signature, which I had never seen before, turns out. Maya wasn't working alone. She'd looped in her son Lucas too. While I was busy cleaning up the first mess, they kept digging the hole deeper. I should have seen it coming, but I wanted to believe. It was just one desperate mistake. Nope, it was a pattern. I called my lawyer immediately. We reopened the fraud investigation and added Lucas's name to it. But here's the thing. Lucas worked at a local loan consultancy. He knew what he was doing. He used insider tricks to bypass some of the checks. Probably thought he was smarter than the system. Now, the case wasn't just identity theft. It was conspiracy and financial fraud. On a larger scale, multiple institutions were involved. The feds got notified. This was no longer a quiet family mess. It was about to go federal. I expected Maya to be mad. I expected Lucas to panic. What I didn't expect was for my own brother to turn against me. He showed up at my apartment furious. Are you trying to get everyone locked up? You could have just handled this quietly. You think I want this? I snapped. They dragged me into this. I'm just cleaning up what they destroyed. He didn't care. We're family. You're making us look like criminals, maybe because some of you are. I said. He left and didn't talk to me for months. My mom called me crying. You're tearing this family apart. I said, no, Mom, Maya did that when she signed my name. I couldn't believe I had to keep defending myself for being the victim. Here's where it gets darker. During one of the discovery phases in court, my lawyer got access to Maya's financial records. He found 2 offshore accounts, one in the Cayman Islands, one in Bice, small amount shore. But she was moving money. That's when we realized Maya wasn't just trying to float her failing business. She was trying to hide assets, possibly even preparing to disappear. If things got too hot, I handed everything to the authorities. They launched a separate investigation. Suddenly, Maya wasn't showing up to court. Her phone was off. Lucas said she went to visit a friend in Florida. She was running. Once Maya skipped 2 court hearings in a row. The judge issued a bench warrant. Then came the knock at my door. It was 2 men in suits. We're with the U.S. Marshals. We've been assigned to the Maya Harris fraud case. We need to know everything. You can tell us. That moment hit me hard. My family had gone from hosting cookouts and birthday dinners to being chased by federal agents. They eventually found Maya in a small rental home in Clearwater, Florida. She was using a fake name, Lana Forbes. She had dyed her hair blonde and had fake IDs on her. It was surreal. They arrested her on the spot. Lucas was picked up the next day. I woke up to my phone blowing up texts, missed calls, emails. Maya's arrest had made the local news. Local event planner accused of stealing nephew's identity for 100. In zero scheme photos of Maya being hauled away in handcuffs. News fans outside her shuttered event studio. Everyone saw it. My neighbors, my coworkers, old high school friends who hadn't texted me in a decade. Some said I did the right thing. Others said I should have kept it in the family. The split was loud. I stayed silent, let the facts speak. Then came the eviction notices. Maya's house gone. Lucas's apartment gone. Their business. Accounts were frozen. Harris started sniffing around too. Apparently taxes were another thing they forgot about. Some family members started turning one at each other. A few tried to sue me, claiming I ruined their financial ties. Ridiculous, nothing stuck. But it wore me down. I lost sleep, got migraines. My job started noticing I wasn't the same. I ended up taking leave. Mental burnout. You know what's wild? I still hadn't seen a dime of restitution. Everything was tangled in red tape. One night I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Ethan, it was Maya from jail. Her voice was raspy. Tired. I just wanted to say Didn't mean for it to go this far. I wasn't. You're my nephew, I love you. Almost laughed. You love me, you destroyed. My credit dragged me into federal court. You ran, I didn't run. She lied. You were using a fake name, she started crying. Please don't let them take Lucas down for this. I hung up a few weeks after that jailhouse call from Maya. I got an email from an investigator working with the U.S. Attorney's Office. The subject line said, "New developments, possible co-conspirator." Turns out Maya had an excellent business partner, someone who helped her file the loan paperwork, someone with access to a notary stamp that was used to verify my forged signature, and that someone was my uncle, me mom's brother Jonah. I hadn't even thought about him. He was quiet-lived. In Houston, barely showed up at family events. But Maya and Jonah used to be close. They'd always talked about starting a business together. I thought it was just empty talk. I was wrong. When the feds reached out to Jonah immediately, lawyered up, refused to talk. They froze his bank account and started looking into property records. That was when my mom called me again this time. Different, her voice wasn't angry. It was broken. They told me about Jonah. She whispered. I didn't know I didn't think, her voice cracked. Maya told me everything was fine. I didn't want to believe she could do that to you. For the first time, she admitted it. Admitted I'd been wronged. Apologized, but part of me couldn't even feel relief. The damage was already done. Her silence all those months had left scars. You don't just forget when your own mother gaslights you for standing up for yourself. Still, I said thanks because I could tell she meant it. Even if it came late, about a month into Maya's time in jail, Lucas's lawyer reached out to mine. They wanted to negotiate. Basically, Lucas was ready to throw Maya and Jonah under the bus in exchange for a lighter sentence. He submitted documents, emails, even audio recordings. One of the recordings had Maya saying, "We'll just use Ethan's credit. He doesn't even check his bank statements. He won't notice." I sat there shaking as I listened to that. Another clip had Lucas saying, "If this goes south, we'll just blame it on a data breach or something. I never hated anyone in my life until I heard those words." Then things got truly bizarre. In one of the folders Lucas submitted, there were invoices from a company called ClearTrack Financial Services. I Googled it. Nothing came up. I did a bit more digging and found out it was fake. Just a shell company. And the address listed, it matched a P.O. box owned by Jonah. This fake company had built Maya's business, nearly $9,000 for credit restoration services. But those services were never performed. The money just vanished. We believe they were laundering money, routing stolen funds through a fake business to make it look like expenses. Now, it was a whole other level of fraud wire, fraud, tax fraud, and money laundering. With all the news coverage and the ongoing investigation word got back to my employer. I worked for a regional bank as a junior analyst. Ironically, my manager called me and Ethan, "We understand you're a victim here, but the optics, they're complicated basically." They didn't want to deal with the drama. They didn't say it directly, but they gave me a choice. Resign quietly or be reassigned to a back-end team with no client contact. I needed the paycheck, is wallowed my pride and took their assignment. But it hurt. I didn't commit any crime yet. Somehow I was the one being sidelined one day. I got a package at my door, no return address inside, was a flash drive, and a note that said, "You need to see this." I plugged it into a throwaway laptop I kept inside a folder full of PDFs and scans. It looked like someone had hacked Maya's email. There were screenshots of her talking to yet another person, someone named R. Green, about opening more lines of credit under fake names. The emails were dated just a few weeks before she got arrested. Maya was planning a full operation. She didn't just want to use my name. She had a list, a long one. Names, SSNs, addresses. They forwarded everything to the feds. They were stunned. This wasn't just identity theft anymore. This was organized fraud. Word came back through my lawyer, Maya. After hearing about the new evidence, tried to cut a deal. She offered to plead guilty if the government agreed not to pursue charges against her daughter, Sophie. Wait, Sophie. I hadn't even considered that she might be involved. Turns out Sophie worked in a temp agency that had contracts with local banks. She had been feeding Maya and Jonah customer info names, birth dates, even partial credit data. That's how they built profiles, convincing enough to get past bank checks. They were running a damn family operation in a final twist. Taryn's lawyer tried to argue that I had been involved at first and only reported the fraud when I didn't get a big enough cut total. Nonsense. But it forced me to hand over months of texts, call logs, even screenshots of my bank statements. To prove I never knew a thing, they were trying to paint me as a co-conspirator in my own victim story. But the judge didn't buy it. Neither did the DA and Jonah. His bail got revoked, so here, I am 3 people in my own family are under federal investigation, or sitting in a jail cell. I'm still fighting to clean. My name still dealing with debt collectors and closed credit cards, still dealing with whispers from family members who say, I could have handled this better. And every now and then, I wonder what would have happened if I had stayed quiet. But then, I remember those emails, that list of stolen identities, the plan they had. And I remember they never once apologized until they got caught. The courtroom was packed, journalists, angry family members, a few. People I didn't recognize but guessed were victims from that list. I found Maya walked in, looking nothing like the woman I used to call Aunt. Her face was pale, hair limp. She wouldn't even look at me. Lucas followed, more puffed up, like Hestel thought he could charm his way out. Then came Jonah. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. The judge didn't waste time. The prosecutors laid everything out. Multiple counts of fraud, identity, theft, conspiracy, and wire fraud. When they played the audio of Maya sighing, he doesn't even check his statements. The room went dead silent. You could hear people breathing. My heart was racing. Not from fear, but from vindication. They tried to ruin me. Instead, they ruined themselves. Lucas got 8 years. Jonah got 11. Maya got 13. Sophie, after turning herself in, got 3 years probation and community service. He claimed she was manipulated. Maybe she was. Or maybe she was just the smartest. One smart enough to jump ship before it sank. Maya begged for mercy during sentencing. I've lost everything, she cried. I didn't feel a single ounce of sympathy. You didn't lose everything. Maya, you gambled it and lost. The judge looked her straight in the eyes. You didn't just commit fraud, you targeted your own blood. That's what makes this specially vile. Boom, gavel down. Case closed. A few weeks after sentencing, I got one last call collect from Maya. I don't know why I answered. She said, you and Ethan are you happy? I paused. I didn't win, I survived. Then I added, but I am proud I didn't become like you. She was quiet for a long time, then said, family isn't supposed to destroy each other. I replied, family also isn't supposed to lie, steal, and run off, pretending it was love. I hung up. That was the last time I ever heard her voice. My credit's still not perfect, but I've recovered most of it. Took years of letters, affidavit, and legal filings. My job I left. Found a new one in another city, where no one knew my name. A fresh start needed that. My family torn half of. Them still think I went too far. But the other half finally realized what Maya really was. I don't go to reunions, don't return certain calls. I sleep better that way. You know what? I wasn't perfect. Either my biggest mistake, not locking down my credit years ago, not freezing my reports, not checking my records. I was careless and I paid for that. But that's where my mistake ends. Everything after that was on them. If I had done nothing, I would have been buried in debt, framed for fraud, maybe even arrested instead. I stood up even when it meant standing alone. People always think revenge means screaming in court or slashing tires, but real revenge, it's watching the people who tried to destroy you fall into the hole they dug while you climb out of it. Maya thought I was weak. So did Lucas. So did Jonah. They didn't realize quiet people don't mean soft. Sometimes quiet people are just waiting for the right time to burn everything down the right way. Now they're locked up,